Chapter 32 Spend so much money, just to hear a sound. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Time returns to the Jubao Pavilion meeting site. Lu Changsheng looked at the people in the conference room. They all looked at him with awe and fear. There was silence in the huge room. Lao Dengtu didn't lie to me. The identity of this agent is quite bluffing. Lu Changsheng appeared directly in this appearance because he also wanted to see if Li Yunshu was bragging. Unexpectedly, the effect was unexpectedly good. Guan Weikai looked at Lu Jingtang in fear. If he accidentally offended Guizhai's agent, the only person left who could save his life was this guest who was supported by Jubao Pavilion with a lot of money. Lu Jingtang cast a reassuring look at his boss. His aura suddenly rose, and he looked at Lu Changsheng with disdain. There are 11 agents in Guizhai. I don't remember the existence of ghost snakes. Do you know that pretending to be an agent will only lead to death? Lu Changsheng looked at Lu Jingtang indifferently and said quietly, just a 7th level venerable, do I need to report to you about the agent of Guizhai? The voice came out through the mask, especially cold and eerie. As soon as these words came out, everyone present couldn't help but believe it. If you dare to show off in front of a genuine venerable person, you probably won't be able to do it without some strength. Why are you here? Lu Jingtang couldn't remember the last time someone dared to talk to him like this, and he actually hesitated. Lu Changsheng is my disciple, and Guan Shan is my disciple. You are looking for someone to assassinate my disciple, and why are you asking me why you came to your door? Hearing this, Guan Weikai was shocked. If this person is a real agent of Guizhai, then he has really set a big trap. Everyone knows that every agent is a lunatic, and relying on their own backing to Guizhai, they often do things without leaving any room and eradicating the roots. The rest of the people also looked shocked. The guy wearing the mask showed no rank at all and was indeed worthy of the status of a venerable person. If what he said is true, Jubao Pavilion may be in disaster today. Lu Changsheng looked around, but no one dared to look at him, showing his aura of a master. I don't know if I can bluff it. Lu Changsheng's heart was far less calm than he seemed on the surface. If he hadn't been tested by Li Yunshu, he really wouldn't have dared to pretend like this, but after learning that his godly spirit could even absorb the pressure of an 8th level venerable, he suddenly became extremely confident in his own defense power. As long as he doesn't do it, no one will. No, he's pretending. The only thing he needs to worry about is that he doesn't dare to take action now. If the situation becomes so embarrassing, he really doesn't know how it will end. Now he could only pray crazily in his heart, hoping that Lu Jingtang would take action quickly and recharge his batteries. Lu Jingtang hesitated for a moment, but decided to take action. Since he was selected by Jubao Pavilion, he naturally has his own merits and will not be deterred by a few words. Even if he is defeated, he has to fight to find out. Otherwise, how can he be trusted in Jubao Pavilion in the future? Lu Jingtang snorted coldly, activated all his powers to the extreme, and locked onto Lu Changsheng instantly with a 7th level pressure. He clasped his hands fiercely, and his whole body was ignited with blazing flames. The sound was terrifying. 2 fire dragons appeared from around the venue and devoured Lu Changsheng in an instant. The intense heat made the flames turn white. If Lu Jingtang hadn't considered that his boss was right beside him, he could have wiped out the entire floor with just one blow. Most of the people present were shocked when they saw the venerable take action for the first time. The center point of those 2 fire dragons must have a temperature of at least tens of thousands of degrees. The most frightening thing was that Lu Jingtang had almost no energy stored up, and he raised his hand to make a killing move, with flames coming from all directions. There was no way to avoid the masked man, and he could only carry it with his body. The difference between a traveler and a venerable is simply greater than the difference between a human and a dog. This can no longer be considered a human category. It's okay. Among the venerables, your attack power is pretty good. Lu Changsheng raised his right hand slightly, and the hot and violent tongue of fire was sucked into Lu Changsheng's body like an obedient pet, and it wrapped around his arm obediently. He looked calm, but in fact he was almost scared to death. I can't see clearly at all. The blazing white light at the center of the fire dragon almost blinded his dog eyes. Fortunately, the agent's mask could block part of the strong light and functioned as sunglasses. Fortunately, God's spirit is really powerful. Not only can it automatically defend against the opponent's abilities, it can also absorb them and use them for one's own use. He just felt full of strength now. Is this a powerful 7th level blow? So fierce, seeing that Lu Changsheng was unharmed, Lu Jingtang was able to defeat his killer move with just a raise of his hand. He was stunned on the spot, his scalp numb. No way, the blow he just made, although he took a little effort to control it because he could not involve the boss, at least it still maintained 80% of the damage of the ultimate move. Moreover, Lu Changsheng did not dodge or dodge, almost taking all the damage from the fire dragon. How could it be possible that nothing happened? Could it be that he is really a 9th level boss? Lu Changsheng knew that the absorbed energy would disappear soon, so he didn't give the other party a chance to think. He pressed forward step by step. Let's play again. I haven't competed with this junior for a long time. He wanted to absorb some more superpowers and try to see if he could kill the real sage. Hearing this, Lu Jingtang gave in completely. If the opponent had resisted a little, he would have dared to fight again, but the opponent didn't treat him as a human being at all, without energy fluctuations, without pressure, he just relied on his physical body to dissolve his killing move. What a mess. Lu Jingtang was very tactful and retreated with his fists, saying respectfully, "Senior, I was blind and disturbed you. I will not ask about this matter anymore. Please let me live. I will keep this cheap life and serve in the front and fight for my human race. Please, senior, let me die a worthy death." The other party refused to be Lu Changsheng's power bank. He didn't dare to act like a master anymore, and waved his hand decisively. Boring, get out. Thank you, senior. Lu Jingtang turned around and bowed to Guan Weikai, saying, "Pavilion master, goodbye." After that, his legs lightly touched the ground, and instantly turned into a rainbow light, breaking through the window of the conference room and rushing straight into the sky, as if afraid that if he walked a second slower, he would not be able to walk anymore. Guan Weikai stared at the broken window with a dull face. The Jubao Pavilion spent a lot of money and worked hard to cultivate the venerable, but he is gone just like that. It seems that Lu Jingtang has only helped the Jubao Pavilion once. The Jubao Pavilion spent countless resources, but in the end, there was only a sound and a fireworks show, and then gone. Guan Weikai collapsed on the chair helplessly. He didn't know whether he should be thankful that the other guest was not in the Jubao Pavilion at the moment, otherwise, he would probably run away too. Asshole, an ungrateful wolf that can never be tamed. Who else? Seeing that the situation was under control, Lu Changsheng quickly struck while the iron was hot and pretended to be big again. Want to come and spar with me? Guan Weikai only felt a chill rushing from the soles of his feet to his forehead, and the sickle of the god of death seemed to have been placed on his neck. He fell to his knees with a plop, and there was no trace of the tyranny of a superior. Lu Changsheng walked towards Guan Weikai step by step, and every step sounded like a death knell. It struck Guan Weicai's heart. Don't. Senior. I can explain. I really didn't want to kill Guan Shan. He is a member of Guan family after all. I just want to talk to him. Brother is colluding with the demon clan, and I can't protect him. If their family doesn't die, we will all be buried with them. Senior, listen to me, listen. Lu Changsheng raised his hand slowly. The remaining superpowers cooperated with Rage of Vengeance to grab Guan Weicai's neck. Guan Weikai was just a 5th level walker. How could he withstand the power of the venerable? Crack. The huge force instantly crushed his bones and flesh, and warm blood splashed on his mask. It was even more hideous. Guan Weicai's hands fell down weakly, and his body twitched for the last time. And there was no movement. The whole conference room was dead silent. Fear quickly climbed into the hearts of all the high-level people in Jubao Pavilion. Honorable, irreversible, it is the rule of this world. Today they witnessed the rules shining into reality with their own eyes, and the feeling in their hearts was much more shocking than those war reports and news. It was like a group of mayflies seeing the blue sky. Life and death depend on the other party's thoughts. Lu Changsheng let go of his hand, looked around at the people in the conference hall, and said word by word. Everyone present, remember this. Guanshan is my disciple. If he encounters any accidents in the future, whether it is assassination, poisoning, or inexplicable disappearance, I will put the blame on you all. Do you understand? Lu Changsheng's voice was like a whisper from hell. Since this day, it has been deeply imprinted in the hearts of every high-level person in Jubao Pavilion. no one dared to overstep the boundaries. Chapter 34. No way, do I have to stay after class? You are listening at novelfull.audio. Lu Changsheng felt a chill on his back and was stunned. Hasn't the Bietian sect been identified as a cult? Isn't this blatantly against the Demon Slayer division? Moreover, isn't Fengdu City in the hands of the Demon Clan? Lu Changsheng didn't expect that he would be involved in such a treasonous incident when he attended the Ghost House agents' meeting for the first time. You should know that there is no so-called country in this world, and all humans are fighting for survival. As the highest combat power of mankind, the Demon Slayer division can basically be understood as the highest power department in this world. It is not an exaggeration to say that it has power over the world. As a result, these people are thinking about pulling teeth out of the tiger's mouth. Isn't this courting death? I agree. The first person to speak was Ghost Rat. He was a man dressed in gorgeous clothes. Although his true appearance was unknown, from the 5-finger thick gold necklace on his neck, it can be felt that this person should be a dog owner. You're a bastard who doesn't want to make money. Although the Bietian sect was severely damaged by the siege of the Demon Slayer division, a lean camel is still bigger than a horse, so there should be some assets left. We have no reason to give up such a big client. Gue Shu is a money grubber, blinded by money, and has no bottom line. Lu Changsheng secretly noted it in his heart. I don't agree. Gue Nyo is a sturdy man, sitting on the chair like a small mountain. I don't know what material the suit on his body is made of. It has obviously expanded to the extreme, but it just holds on and refuses to crack. The group of people in the cult are too cunning. I don't like them. From the accent, Gue Nyo is an honest man, and his values are relatively positive. I agree. Gue Hu's voice is lazy, as if he hasn't woken up yet. Last time I had a fight with Wang Shilong, and I didn't win. This time I want to get back at him. Gue Hu is a warmonger. Who is that Wang Shilong? Lu Changsheng's brows under the mask are getting tighter and tighter. He still knows too little about this world. I don't agree. Ghost Rabbit is a woman, and a beautiful woman, but her every move always makes Lu Changsheng feel a little familiar, but he can't remember when he saw her. The benefits are too low. We have to pass through 3 lines of defense along the way. 5 crystal cores are not enough for me to fight for my life. Is this woman a person who puts profit above all else? Dragon didn't speak, but looked at Lu Changsheng. Although the 12 people sitting there all wore masks, their figures, clothes, gestures and movements could still give a rough idea of them. Only this dragon seemed to be shrouded in an impenetrable fog, with only a mask floating in the air. Feeling the leader's gaze, Lu Changsheng cleared his throat and spoke. I don't agree. The 8th level crystal core is useless to me. Lu Changsheng was telling the truth. His 2 apprentices were still using the 4th level crystal core and could not use such high-quality crystal cores for the time being, but when these words fell into the ears of the rest of the people, they changed their meaning. Is this new guy so arrogant? Except for those old monsters at the peak of the 9th level, who no longer practice through crystal cores, which Venerable dares to say that the 8th level crystal core is useless to him. Except for Dragon and Ghost Horse, those agents who don't know Lu Changsheng's background have re-evaluated this newcomer in their hearts. Don't look at me, boss, I definitely don't agree. Ghost Horse boldly shrugged and said, from the reactions of others, it can be seen that everyone knows that Ghost Horse can't go against the Demon Slayer division. This oldly has an interesting identity. I agree. Ghost Sheep's seductive voice sounded again, but this time there was no charm that went straight to the heart, just making Lu Changsheng feel a little warm in his heart. I'm waiting for you in Fengdu City. If I'm not enough, I can arrange a few more sisters for you to ensure that everyone has fun. Especially you, the new little brother, you haven't experienced the taste of the demon race yet. Is Ghost Sheep in Fengdu City? Lu Jiangming said that Guizhai can get information about the demons. It should have a lot to do with this woman. Speaking of the taste of the succubus, what is it like? I really want to experience it. Pooh. Lu Changsheng, calm down. Especially you, little Lu. Lower your head. You will be eaten. Lu Changsheng's heart was pounding. He had to close his eyes, secretly recite the calculation formula of advanced mathematics in his heart, and desperately try to squeeze that damn idea out of his brain. I agree, Ghost Monkey, is a cool girl with short hair, a black suit, and her hands on her chest, imposing. She didn't explain why she agreed, and was a bit reluctant to say anything. I agree. Ghost Chicken, looks like a middle-aged man, wearing a flowery suit, with a wide collar on his shirt, revealing his strong chest. After he sat down at the long table, he kept staring at the women present, especially Giang, who almost attracted his soul. Giang, don't stand me up again when the time comes. I've wanted to sleep with you for a long time. The desire in Giji's voice was not concealed, which made Giang laugh. The evil fire that Lu Changsheng had suppressed with great difficulty was almost aroused again, and he quickly recited the mathematical formula in his mind. I don't agree. Ghost Dog habitually wanted to push the glasses on the bridge of his nose, but then he remembered that he was wearing a mask, so he had to give up. She was the person who looked most like she was here for a meeting. She was dressed in a professional outfit, giving people the feeling that she would take out a large stack of information at any time and explain it on the spot. The people in the cult are all stubborn. They always shout that they are with God and play with self-destruction. It's too boring. This little secretary sounds like a fun person. I agree. Ghost Pig was the last to speak. As the name suggests, Ghost Pig is a huge fat man. The spacious backrest chair made him feel like a child's seat. His round belly stuck him between the chair and the long table, so he had to move his body from time to time to make himself more comfortable. I think the other Tianjiao must have more than this. It's better to rob the thieves, kidnap the goddess, and let them pay the ransom. It will definitely make more money. Fuck. This person is a ruthless person. Lu Changsheng was secretly shocked. Lu Changsheng already had a preliminary impression of the 12 agents of Guizhai, except for the silent, Long. This is a group of people who have no bottom line, are profit-seeking, extremely selfish, and lawless, crazy people. I agree. After everyone finished speaking, that vigorous and powerful voice sounded again, ringing in all directions. 6 people agree, 6 people oppose. According to the rules, my vote counts as 1.5 votes, and the task is passed. All those who voted in favor can apply to accept the task. No matter who accepts the task, Giang can get an 8th-level crystal core as a reward. Is there any problem? That the whole audience was silent, whether they voted in favor or against, all agreed with Long's words. This leader can make these crazy people obedient, and it seems that he has something. Well, the meeting is over. Those who want to accept the task will contact me later through the mask. You can leave. Ghost Snake, you stay. Lu Changsheng. No way, do you still need to stay in class? Chapter 35 The Goddess and the New World. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Lu Changsheng was the only one left on the empty long white jade table. He looked at Dragon, a little uneasily, unable to guess what the other party was going to say. I heard Guema talk about your matter. Long's voice was very calm, without the domineering and majestic tone during the meeting. He said that you are at the peak of the 9th level, and there are faint signs of breakthrough. Is it true? Lu Changsheng's brain was thinking rapidly. Should he tell the truth, or should he pretend to the end? After weighing the pros and cons several times, he decided to tell the truth. There is no way, these people are crazy. If he is really regarded as a 9th-level boss, it is really possible for him to assassinate the chief of the Demon Slayer department, which will make it more difficult to end the situation. I'm just good at concealing my aura. Old. Guema must have misunderstood me because of this. Lu Changsheng discovered that not everyone among the 12 agents seemed to know each other, but he still chose to use the code name of Lao Lidu. Dragon said nothing, and the mask floating in the air stared directly at Lu Changsheng, as if he wanted to see into his heart. Silence, long silence. What do you think of the Demon Slayer division? Long suddenly asked. Lu Changsheng was not surprised by this issue. it can also be seen from the few words spoken by everyone at the meeting that there is an obvious tendency among the agents. Some people prefer to be lawful and unwilling to help the cult. Some people's interests come first, and if you have breasts, you are a mother. Some people are simply demons, and I don't know how they joined the agency. This question should be to see Lu Changsheng's attitude towards the officialdom. The Demon Slayer Division is humanity's last line of defense. Lu Changsheng picked up old Li Tu's words and learned them now. His attitude towards the Demon Slayer Division could not be called respect, but considering that his apprentice was going to make a living there in the future, it would be better to make his attitude clear. As expected of the person brought by Guema. Dragon snorted softly, but there was no hint of joy or anger. You are a newcomer. As the leader, I want to remind you that there are 3 rules for Guizhai agents that must not be exceeded. First, if you accept a task, you must complete it. Even if you die, you will not give up this option. Second, don't inquire about your companion's identity unless he takes the initiative to tell you. Third, cherish your opportunity to vote just as you cherish your life. Lu Changsheng nodded. Joining the agent organization currently has more advantages than disadvantages. Not only can you get Guizhai's information for free, but you can also choose whether to accept tasks. As long as you vote against it, you will not be forced to assign tasks. Although his teammates are all lunatics, what does it have to do with him, Lu Changsheng? I remember. That I don't know if it was an illusion, but Lu Changsheng seemed to see a pair of eyes in Dragon's mask. The owner of the eyes is laughing at him, knowing nothing. Before Lu Changsheng could understand the meaning of that look, the surrounding scenery became blurry again. When Lu Changsheng opened his eyes, he had returned to his morning hall, and less than a minute had passed on the clock. In that space, will the flow of time also be affected? Lu Changsheng was secretly shocked. This is the real boss in this world. Balin Road Chemical Plant. Under the ruins, the once bustling production workshop has long been covered with a thick layer of dust. A sneaky figure quickly passed by the ruins, making a slight rustling sound. After Su Wang jumped several times, he came to a relatively clean platform, knelt down on one knee, placed his right hand on his heart, and said respectfully, God's envoy, the things you arranged have been taken care of by your subordinates. All the remaining believers in Linjiang province will sneak into Linqing one after another, and they will all be in place before the awakening ceremony begins. Sally Chiu was wearing a black evening dress and standing on the high platform of the abandoned factory. She did not look as embarrassed as the most wanted criminal of the law enforcement team. Instead, she looks like a queen waiting for the catwalk. New. A smile appeared on the corner of Chiu Sally's mouth, and her voice was clear and sweet. Su Wang did not stand up, but had a solemn look on his face. He took a deep breath, but still could not hold back, and asked, Master Divine Envoy. I really don't understand. The attack is becoming more and more severe, so it is wise for us to choose to lurk. Why do you still need to summon the believers to come to the city? These believers are the last flames of the divine religion. If they are wiped out by the hawks and dogs of the law enforcement team, then the several years of the divine religion's operation in Linjiang province will really come to naught. Are you afraid of death? Qiu Shaili looked at Su Wang with a smile, but her tone was as cold as ice. Don't be afraid, my subordinate. Su Wang raised his head excitedly, looked at the noble envoy of God, and his tone couldn't help but become anxious. Since I received the call from God, I have dedicated everything to my Lord. Come on, don't say it's a shameful life. If my Lord needs it, my subordinates can kill themselves in front of the divine envoy immediately. I just can't bear to see my Lord's great cause was wasted in vain because of the evil breath of the divine messenger. Oh. Do you think I summoned the congregation to avenge the law enforcement team's arrest? Qiu Sally's tone was still cold, but the killing intent in her eyes had faded a lot. The strongholds in Linqing have been completely eradicated. Now I can't think of any other reasonable reasons for summoning the remaining believers. Su Wang's eyes were filled with the determination to die. He knew that he was no match for the envoy of God, but he couldn't watch the years of operation of the God cult fail in her hands. My Lord's great cause is not in Linqing, nor in Linjiang province. Qiu Shaili put away her smile, her expression was extremely serious, and her eyes were full of piety. My lord's great cause is in Yaoguang, in Dawn, in Fengdu, in this world. The god cult has reached an agreement with Guizhai, and they will escort the goddess away. The plan we have been planning for many years is about to begin. Su Wang was stunned. He was just a low-level believer. Even if he made great contributions in resisting the law enforcement team's crusade, he was only promoted to a servant of God and did not understand the plans of the top leaders, but he knew one thing since he joined the god cult: the goddess is the spokesperson of my lord. She will lead all believers to see the new world in their dreams. We can't put all our hopes on Guizhai, they are a group of unreasonable lunatics. In order to complete my lord's mission, we must send a great gift to the Demon Slayer division in the rear. For the goddess, and for those brothers and sisters who have returned to my lord's arms before seeing the new world. Qiu Sheili's current appearance no longer has a trace of tenderness. She has a solemn face and there seems to be light flashing in her eyes. Su Wang slowly lowered his head, and because of excitement, his whole body couldn't stop trembling. He thought of the first time he felt the existence of God. Think of that majestic figure, think of the new world in the dream. I understand. As long as my lord's glory can shine on the world, I will die without regrets. Qiu Sheili looked at the horizon along the dilapidated wall. A ray of sunset slowly fell. Take away the last trace of remaining temperature. Night fell. Chapter 36. Bring back the first place for Master. You are listening at novelfull.audio. As winter turns to spring, in front of the Changsheng Hall, the ground originally covered with thick snowflakes has quietly revealed mottled bluestone slabs. Half a year has passed by in a hurry. Sister Hongye, I really can't do it anymore, let me take a rest. A young man fell helplessly into the backyard of Changsheng Hall. After half a year of training, Go Xingzi has raised his superpower level to the second-level peak. After all, not every awakened person has a good master who can provide unlimited crystal nuclei. Unfortunately, his skill, Revenge of Rage, was stuck at 99% and could not break through. Lu Changsheng had no choice but to call Hongye to help train his apprentice. Hongye was naturally very happy. There were not many opportunities to hug such a thick thigh. Lu Changsheng repeatedly emphasized that as long as he couldn't be beaten to death, he would fight to death, but he still couldn't repeat the example of Gu Jia's breakthrough on the battlefield. Nothing has changed except that there is an old kid in the house with a bruised nose and face every day. What went wrong? Lu Changsheng lay on the folding chair, frowning slightly and curling his lips in dissatisfaction. Not only Go Xingzi, but also Gu Jia's cultivation progress is stuck at 99%, Gu Jia's Xiantian Kung LV3 practice progress is 99%. Gu Jia's spiritual gathering stack LV2 cultivation progress is 99%. The training progress of Guanshan Fury of Revenge LV2 is 99%. Total mall coins, 7,615. Looking at the details of the mall, Lu Changsheng felt agitated. He hasn't received mall coins for a long time. For a white prostitute, this is simply more uncomfortable than killing him. Boss Lu, that's all for today's training. Guan Shan will have to attend the awakening ceremony tomorrow, so let him recuperate. Hongye carried Go Xingzi's body with one hand and returned to the Changsheng Hall lightly. Wearing a long flowing skirt, it swayed gently in the wind. Furthermore, Guan Shan's skills are so weird. The first time we practiced, I was scared to death. I thought he was really dead. Even though it has been a long time, Hongye still has lingering fears when mentioning this. It's okay. He will be alive and kicking again when he wakes up. Lu Changsheng looked helpless. He really couldn't figure out what went wrong. Hongye picked up the teapot and poured herself a glass of water, then refilled Lu Changsheng's water glass, took a sip and said with a smile, Boss Lu, where is Jiar? School has just ended, and I should be on my way home. Their school will lead a team to watch the ceremony tomorrow, so they must have been delayed by explaining some precautions. 6 months ago, Lu Changsheng felt the cruelty of the world for the first time after attending an agent meeting. The outside world is not a beautiful stage, but a cruel forest where the weak and the strong prey on each other. After that day, Lu Changsheng became particularly concerned about the training of his disciples. Not only did he find a training partner for Go Xingzi, But he also sent Gu Jia to Wuling Middle School, which specializes in learning supernatural powers. The little girl is now also a famous figure in the school. After all, not everyone can beat up all the bullies in the school after only half a year of enrollment. Thinking of this, Lu Changsheng had another headache. I don't know whether it is right or wrong to send Gu Jia to Wuling. Boss Lu, I met Jia at the door. I heard that Guan Shan will also participate in the awakening ceremony tomorrow. Lu Jiangming followed Gu Jia into the Changsheng Hall one after another. When he was not busy at work, he would always ask Lu Changsheng to have a few drinks at the Wild Dog Bar. Lu Changsheng often invited him to the restaurant for dinner. It can be said that Lu Jiangming and Hong Ye are Lu Changsheng's only friends in this world. Is Guan Shan still alive? Lu Jiangming stared at the body on the ground and said calmly, the first time he saw the dying dog Xingzi, he was so scared that he peed. The child was already cold, but Lu Changsheng and Gu Jia acted as if nothing was wrong, eating potato chips and watching TV beside the corpse. The scene was not too scary. Fortunately, we saw him more often and he got used to it. Sometimes 3 people and 1 body would sit around a table to eat. Okay, everyone, let's start dinner. Let's have hot pot tonight. That the spicy smell of hot pot soon filled the store, and the night breeze drifting in from the window blurred everyone's faces. Amidst the laughter, Lu Changsheng was slightly in a trance. It has been 4 years since he came to this world. The originally deserted Changsheng Hall was now bustling with activity, and he gradually adapted to this world where supernatural powers and monsters coexisted, except that business is still miserable. Everything else seems to be fine. After the meal, everyone sat in a circle and started chatting. Lu Jiangming took a sip of beer, put down the bottle in his hand, raised his hand to Guan Shan and said, Guan Shan, this year's awakening ceremony happens to be our turn in Lincheng. Tomorrow the elites from all over the province will compete with you. You have to fight for our Lincheng. If the first place is taken by another city, your Uncle Lu's year-end bonus is about to go to waste. Hong Yi smiled on the side and said, Don't worry, Lao Lu, Guan Shan's current strength is definitely the first person below the 4th level. If I hadn't relied on the 4th level walker to release energy to form a shield, I wouldn't have dared to claim a sure win. Where is he? Furthermore, Guan Shan has been assisting in the cultivation of crystal cores since the 1st level. Except for those children of wealthy families, most people do not have such good conditions. Guan Shan looked at his master with some gratitude. That's not necessarily true. Lu Jiangming's face was already covered with blushes, and he spoke louder. This year's awakening ceremony is different from previous ones. The demons on the front line have been making frequent moves recently, and there is a sign of impending storms. The top leaders also want to use this annual event to boost the confidence of the people. It is said that the genius elites of several families will appear tomorrow. In the past, they were directly selected to enter those top schools through internal selection. After graduation, those people are the elite of the elite. Speaking of which, Guanshan, have you decided which school to apply for? I want to apply for the Demon Slayer Military Academy. Guanshan had obviously thought about it a long time ago, and he answered without hesitation. The military academy is very dangerous. If you want to graduate there, you must go to the front line to kill the enemy and kill a certain number of demons before you can graduate. Hong Ye said with some concern. There is only a military academy, and it can only be a military academy. Guanshan said, picked up the drink and took a sip, without explaining the reason. Only there can you get military merits the fastest and climb up. The person who could plot to kill his whole family must not be a small person. Only by climbing to a high enough position can that guy be found. A trace of viciousness and violence flashed in Guanshan's eyes, and soon he regained his calm. What about you, Jiao? Have you ever thought about which school to go to? Seeing that Guanshan was determined, Hong Ye stopped trying to dissuade him and turned to look at Gu Jiao. I listen to master. Gu Jia smiled sweetly, and it was hard to tell that this lovely girl was a tough character that no one dared to mess with in school. Lu Changsheng raised his glass and clinked it with Lu Jiangming, drank it all, and slowly said, Go Xingzi, you have the ambition to join the Demon Slayer division, and master will not stop you. But you have to remember that no matter where you go, master is your master. If someone outside bullies you, tell master, and master will help you out. Guanshan's eyes were slightly hot. Master never cared about what he chose, but only cared about whether he was bullied, whether he had enough food, and whether he slept well. Since his parents and brother left, only his master and senior sister would consider these things for him. He unconsciously had an impulse in his heart, wanting to give up tomorrow's awakening ceremony, be with his master and senior sister, forget hatred, forget pain, and live another life. Unfortunately, he couldn't do it. The wailing of his family, the desperate eyes, and the painful memories were deeply rooted in the boy's heart, like a maggot on the tarsal bone, lingering. He forcibly suppressed the urge to stay and nodded gently. Lu Changsheng raised the corner of his mouth, revealing a smile, and said softly, "When you are young, you should live up to your youth. If you want to leave, leave beautifully. Bring back the first place for your master." Guanshan didn't say anything, but just looked at his master seriously and nodded vigorously. Chapter 37. This session will be exciting. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Early in the morning, Guanshan opened his eyes, washed, and ate. After everything was ready, he put on his backpack and went out. Beside him, there were two figures, one big and one small. For most boys and girls, last night was destined to be a sleepless night. A group of children who had never seen blood fantasized that they would win the first place in the awakening ceremony, become a generation of geniuses, lead the human race to kill all directions, and completely eliminate the demon race. At the entrance of the demon-slaying division branch, many parents have excitedly sent their children here. The annual awakening ceremony is much more cruel than the college entrance examination in Lu Changsheng's previous life. There is no repetition here, no way to take the back door, and no way to spend money to go to a good university. If you are not talented, you can only be an ordinary person in this life, looking at the world through the door, but you can never see what the world looks like. If you are lucky, you can awaken some decent superpowers and join the local law enforcement team, and perhaps your life will be relatively better. However, most teenagers only think about the ultimate goal in their hearts, winning the championship in the arena, making a splash. In the huge venue of the branch, the principal of Wuling Middle School stood at the front of the team with a cold expression. He Jinyong, a retired soldier who returned from the front line, fought on the front line for 20 years, saw his lover, son, and daughter go, lost all hope, and left the battlefield. Came to the small place of Lincheng and served as the principal. He seemed to have never smiled, and was always used to managing students in the way of the army. Except for Gu Jia, all the children were afraid of him and called him He Bingshan behind his back. The awakening ceremony will begin in 2 hours. I know what you are thinking. When you awaken, you will have good talents, practice quickly, kill the demons, seize mountains and rivers, and become a generation of genius. But how many people have really left their names in human history? On the front line, you are brave, and you are passionate and admirable. But if you are not selected by major colleges and universities, don't be disappointed. As long as you are willing to serve mankind, every job you do will be valuable. In the last time, adjust your mentality and face it calmly. The Wuling students walking in the front were all silent. They knew that what He Bingshan said was right. A few years after today, maybe classmates will be worlds apart. He Bingshan, can everyone awaken? That He Jinyong was startled. He knew who was talking without looking. In the entire Wuling Middle School, there was only one person who dared to call him He Bingshan in front of him, and that person was not the vice principal. Gu Jia crossed the crowd and stood beside He Jinyong. He Jinyong saw who was coming and wanted to criticize him for not knowing the rules, but the words came to his lips but he didn't say them. Gu Jia is too much like him. Both cold and frosty, and both keep people at a distance, if you have to say. The difference between them, He Jinyong is like a dead person living in the real world. His soul will always stay on the front line, only numb flesh is left, nowhere to go. Gu Jia is like a living person crawling out of the dead, incompatible with this world. It seems that no one can get into her heart. This child is very good in He Jinyong's eyes. No matter how strict the training is, she has never complained. It's just that her temper is a bit strange. When she first entered school, those little bastards in the school took a fancy to Gu Jia's beauty and wanted to chat with her, but they were beaten down by her before they could finish a sentence. The little bastards were not convinced, and they found their accomplices in the senior grade, and they repeated it several times. Gu Jia cleaned up all the troublemakers in Wuling Middle School. She became the school's big sister. He Jinyong collected his thoughts and replied seriously, most people can awaken their abilities during the ceremony, but only a few people's abilities are worth cultivating. Gu Jia stared at the huge electronic screen in the center of the venue and nodded thoughtfully. Go Xingzi, should be valuable. Finally, the broadcast announced that all those who participated in the awakening ceremony could enter. Dozens of precision instruments whose shapes could not be seen were placed on the high platform, waiting to decide the fate of everyone. Dozens of staff members of the Demon Slayer department were guarding the instruments. The students lined up in a long line, waiting for the most important moment in their lives. Those casual cultivators who did not enroll were much more relaxed than those nervous students. Those who came to participate in the awakening ceremony without going through the school system were either children of wealthy families who disdained the education of ordinary schools, or children from poor families who could not afford to go to school. The former usually have been tested in advance within the family, and this trip is just a formality. If the Demon Slayer division hadn't gone crazy this year and closed the internal selection, they wouldn't come here to join in the fun. The latter are even less stressed. They have nothing to begin with. If they succeed, they will take off and leap over the Dragon Gate. It doesn't matter if they fail, because life won't get worse anyway. He Jing, the director of the Linqing Demon Slayer division branch, stood on the high platform with the best view, looking at those energetic teenagers, and couldn't help but sigh. Every year at this time, I will think of myself. Back then, I was just like these kids, fantasizing that I could save the situation with my own strength and support the collapsing building. As a result, I worked hard for half a lifetime and only became a branch director. Director, you are temporary. Strictly speaking, your position is still deputy director. A middle-aged woman, wearing gold-rimmed glasses and a straight-fitting professional suit, said very seriously. He Jing was stunned, and he coughed awkwardly twice, and he lost the interest to continue his feelings. Wuling Middle School, Deng Xinming. Ability Level A, Reinforcement System. A boy as thin as a stick stared blankly at the big screen. After a moment of silence, the boy trembled all over, and was a little excited and at a loss. Linqing is a small city, and there are no big families to show off. It is a rare situation to awaken A-level superpowers. Moreover, he awakened the reinforcement system that the military academy likes most. This kind of superpower has a short training cycle and a fast combat power formation. It is the backbone of the front line. The most important thing is that his superpower level is A. The higher the level rating, the less resources consumed during cultivation. For the same type of superpowers, everyone will tend to give resources to high-level awakeners because the input-output ratio is higher. This young man can be said to have ascended the throne of the emperor with one move, completing the class leap that countless people dream of. Of course, when someone laughs, someone must cry. Most people awaken talents below B level. Even if you awaken a very promising elemental ability, no force will spend a lot of resources on a young man who may not be able to stand out. I awakened the lightning system. It is the strongest attack ability. Why is the level F? A young man sat on the stage in a daze, his heart full of mixed feelings. That feeling is like a poor family who has been poor for 3 generations, and won a big prize, but when they received the prize, they found out that the prize redemption date has expired. Big sister, who do you think will be the first this year? A fat boy followed Gu Jia and asked with a flattering face. It must be Go Xingzi. Go Xingzi is the most powerful. Gu Jia's eyes kept searching in the crowd, but unfortunately there were too many people on the scene, and she couldn't find Guan Shan's shadow. But I heard that several family members came to the provincial capital. They are all innate awakeners. Maybe they are almost at the 3rd level now. There is no one called Go Xingzi. Gu Jia ignored the little fat man, but she was a little anxious because she didn't see her junior brother for a long time. Wang Sheng. Superpower level SSS, Strengthening System. As the sound of the broadcast fell, the venue with thousands of people fell silent in an instant. Except for everyone's own heartbeat, there was only the faint sound of swallowing saliva. A long-haired boy stood proudly on the high platform, looking down on everyone. and his black robe fluttered without wind. In the eyes of envy, jealousy, and admiration of the crowd, the boy tapped his feet lightly and floated back to the crowd. Only a chic back and a big Wang character were left. This kid is a bit pretentious, damn. If I had known, I would have bought a battle robe for Go Shengzi. Lu Changsheng in the crowd complained with some regret, "Old Lu, what does SSS mean? Is it very powerful?" "Very powerful." Lu Jiangming was full of envy and nodded seriously. SSS level is the highest level of superpowers that can be detected by instruments. The upper limit of this kind of superpowers is extremely high. Almost all the venerables in the world are SSS level superpowers. If it is an ordinary A-level awakener, the resources spent to cultivate to a venerable are enough to raise 3 SSS level awakeners. Unless there are forces that cultivate at all costs, it is impossible to do it. All major forces will rack their brains to recruit SSS level superpowers. This guy named Wang Sheng is probably Guanshan's biggest competitor. Before Lu Jiangming finished speaking, another broadcast sounded. Liang Yusin. Superpower level SSS, auxiliary system. The whole audience was in an uproar. In previous years, it was already big news to have an S level in the awakening ceremony. Are all those family members monsters? Let them go back for internal selection, okay? Don't ruin our Dao heart. This is what almost everyone thought. Liang Yusin did not leave the stage immediately, but walked to the center of the high platform, looking down on the audience. Finally, her sight stopped on Wang Sheng, and her fighting spirit surged. It was clear that the ranking trial was after the awakening ceremony, but at this moment, everyone in the venue seemed to see an invisible arc between the two people, and they collided wildly. I have said long ago that we should not hide these good seedlings, but show them to everyone, how vigorous our human race's elites and the future of the human race are. He Jing looked at the people in the audience, with envy, unwillingness, but more of a strong fighting spirit. He nodded with satisfaction. This year's awakening ceremony will be very exciting. Chapter 38. That's even better. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The awakening ceremony is still going on, but after the stunning debuts of Wang Sheng and Liang Yusin, there is nothing amazing about the awakened ones behind. Finally, Gu Jia saw the figure of his junior brother. She stood up happily, raised her hands excitedly, and kept waving. The girl's face was full of smiles, and she no longer looked cold and cold. The little fat boy Zhao Chuan was dumbfounded. Is the eldest sister's head so beautiful? Why haven't I noticed it before? Guan Shan stood in front of the instrument and took a deep breath. Place the palm of your hand inside the circuit diagram. Guan Shan. Superpower level SSS, ice element. As the radio sounds, all the eyes of the audience were focused on the high platform. Wang Sheng looked at the high platform with some surprise. A trace of fear quietly flashed in his eyes. The corners of Liang Yusin's mouth were slightly raised, and the strong fighting spirit in her eyes was even stronger. SSS level elemental superpower. These words combined together can almost be equated to the posture of a venerable person. The elemental system is the most powerful offensive ability, and it is also the highest combat power that can change the situation of the battle on its own. Even A-level elemental systems are already very popular, let alone SSS level ones. Any force will cultivate this genius at all costs. It can be said that the moment those words on the screen lit up, Guan Shan's fate completely changed. SSS level. Guan Shan's hanging heart finally let go. He had always known the type of his powers, but before he had time to test the level of his powers, he encountered a huge change. Now that he has obtained the top ticket, sooner or later he will have to climb up to the high platform suspended in the dome, find that guy, and pay with blood. Sister, is that big guy really your friend? Zhao Chuan's jaw almost dropped. Today's awakening ceremony completely overturned his 3 views. As an ordinary student in a small city, he could actually witness the rise of those geniuses with his own eyes. This feeling was so magical. Not a friend. Gu Jia's face was full of pride. He is my junior brother. That the classmates sitting around Gu Jia glanced sideways at her, their eyes full of surprise or disdain. One of the beautiful girls named Deng Lingling was obviously unconvinced and muttered in a low voice, "Why are you pretending? I said Wang Sheng is my boyfriend, bah." The girl next to her also hummed and took up the topic. I thought he was so cold, but it turned out that I saw that his level was high, so I didn't even have time to tip him off. Gu Jia ignored those strange voices and just waved her hands happily, running and jumping. You are still dancing. I will definitely be a big shot in the future. How can I remember you, a country girl from a small city? If you want to attract others' attention, you have to wait until the ceremony is over. Deng Lingling had long been dissatisfied with Gu Jia, and now she deliberately spoke loudly to Feng Ling for fear that others would not hear her. Before Gu Jia came, she was a popular figure in Wuling Middle School. Wherever I go, I am always surrounded by people. As a result, this little monster took away all her prestige within half a year. The most disgusting thing is that those school bullies, even if their uniforms are soft, actually say that she is Wuling Rose, the well-deserved school beauty, with both beauty and strength. Fart. She deserves it too. Isn't it just that I have more strength? When I wake up, I will definitely take care of this little coquettish hoof. Deng Lingling thought in her heart, only feeling that the bad breath she had been holding back for a long time felt a little relieved at this moment. Gu Jia has no time to pay attention to those coquettish bitches now. She is just sincerely happy for her junior brother. SSS level. Lu Jiangming kept shaking Lu Changsheng's shoulders and roared excitedly, I thought Guan Shan was choked this time, but now he's stable. Who can beat an SSS level elemental superpower? Lu Changsheng knew Guan Shan's level earlier than anyone else, so he wasn't too excited. He just asked a little strangely, are there still fights in the ranking matches? I see that many people have just awakened their powers. How can they be the opponents of those who are innately awakened? Lu Jiangming chuckled and said, of course we have to fight. Those awakening devices are all driven by crystal cores. The Demon Slayer division spent such a high price not just to let ordinary people experience the feeling of awakening. What they want, a warrior who can kill enemies. But, isn't this unfair? Lu Changsheng curled his lips, feeling that such a rule was a bit too rigid. At least it should be divided into levels. Otherwise, wouldn't the children of the big families simply come to the novice area to fry fish? There is no fairness in this world. Lu Jiangming suppressed his smile and looked at the crowd with some solemnity. The demon clan is an awakened one at birth. Is this fair? The demon clan does not need a crystal core to practice. Is this fair? The current situation of the human race is beyond our control. The Demon Slayer Department, or the human race, what they need is to quickly identify the elites among the crowd, allocate resources, and cultivate them at all costs. What the human race needs is not a group of mediocre awakened people. What the human race needs is a leader who can carry the banner. What humanity needs, is a hero. Lu Changsheng looked at his apprentice thoughtfully and remained silent. The Demon Slayer Division. He Jing scanned the information in front of him carefully, and after a long while. Wang Sheng, the grandson of Dawn City Lord Wang Shilong, is at the peak of the second level, and there are faint signs of a breakthrough. Liang Yusin, president of the Hunter Guild, daughter of Liang Yu, peak second level. Guan Shan, the son of the former master of the Jubao Pavilion, the peak of the second level. This year's top spot should be among these three. What do you think? Beside He Jing, a man in black gently put down the teacup in his hand. From the standpoint of Dark Moon Pavilion, it doesn't matter who wins, but what I care about most is Guan Shan. Oh. He Jing was intrigued by the other party. He picked up the teacup and drank it all in one gulp. He said with a smile, is it because Guizhai can't find any information about Guan Shan? The biggest gap between us and Guizhai is reflected in the intelligence of the demon clan. In other aspects, we are not worse than them. The man in black paused, seeming to formulate his words. This Guanshan, before entering the Changsheng Hall, was just a wandering first-level awakener, but in just 1 year, he was able to climb to the peak of the second level. Besides, his so-called master is not a good person either. He seems to be inextricably linked to the newly promoted Guizhai agent. Hua Quan, you have an occupational disease. You are always suspicious. It doesn't matter what your identity or background is. As long as it is a good seedling of our human race, we should vigorously cultivate it. He Jing waved his hand and said indifferently, SSS level in the elemental system, how many years will it take for one to be produced? As long as he doesn't die on the way, he will definitely be the Optimus pillar of the human race in the future. Did you die on the way? Hua Quan picked up the tea cup, took a sip, and said calmly, speaking of this, the cult has become restless again recently. I don't know what you are planning, but I want to remind you. Their goal is likely to be this year's awakening ceremony, especially tomorrow's qualifying match. Once those children enter the trial field, there is no way to close it until the winner is determined. If the cult takes this opportunity to cause trouble, do you have an emergency plan? That He Jing poured Hua Quan another cup of tea and spoke slowly. In recent years, the frontline has suffered successive defeats. A large part of the reason is because of that damn cult. How much energy and resources we spent to clean up those bed bugs. I'm just afraid that they won't come. As long as they come, Linjiang province will be given a few years of peace this time. It's also good for my soldiers in Linjiang to share some of the pressure on the front line. Hua Quan did not continue to drink tea, but looked at He Jing with a serious expression, and said quietly, you arranged all the combat forces of the Demon Slayer Division to the training ground. The branch is almost undefended. Have you ever thought about another possibility? What if those cultists don't attack the trial field but come to attack the branch? That He Jing silently played with the teacup in his hand. After a long time, he slowly spoke. That would be better. Chapter 39. Even if you two attack me together, you are no match for me. You are listening at novelfull.audio. A barren mountain not far from Dawn City, a middle-aged man wearing a coquettish floral suit sat in the middle of the mountain road. There was a huge monster corpse lying under him, with its internal organs chewed to pieces and its head split in half. It was too dead to be dead anymore. I said, Goddess, brother, I have escorted you all the way. Why don't you take off that veil and let me see what it looks like? Ghost Chicken's voice was full of frivolity. If he hadn't been chewing on the monster's severed arm, he would have been identified as a rich young man from some family who came out to tease a common girl. Master Giji, believe me, it's better for you if you don't know me. The goddess's voice is ethereal, soft and lingering, like a peaceful stream, which makes people feel at ease and comfortable. To her left and right stood a man wearing a golden robe. Their originally exquisite and luxurious robes were all stained with blood and turned dark red. Compared with Giji's coolness, it is obvious that they have suffered a lot. Their eyes were full of anger, but they didn't dare to take action. After all, they could get here all the way because of this guy wearing a red and black mask. I've said it many times, just call me brother, it's too ugly. The ghost chicken dropped the severed arm in his hand and walked towards the goddess step by step. The mask spread automatically and covered the mouth exposed when eating, making his expression completely unclear. If you insist on calling me, I can let you call me Brother Chicken. The ghost chicken stretched out a finger, gently touched the goddess's chin, and raised her head. What are you going to do? Have you forgotten that we have reached an agreement with Guizhai? Do you want to break the contract? One of the men in red robes roared angrily, his aura suddenly increased, and a fight was about to begin. It doesn't matter. The goddess gently raised her right arm to stop her subordinate. He and Giji looked at each other quietly. There was no fear or any emotion. Like a pool of stagnant water, there will never be any ripples. TCH, boring woman. Giji moved his fingers away, passed by the goddess, put his head in his hands, and said lazily, I still like passionate souls, what a pity. I heard that you are a beauty. It's unlucky to make yourself look like a human being or a ghost. The goddess seemed to have no human emotions. She calmly lifted her skirt and followed the ghost chicken. Lord Guiji, when can we pass through the war zone and arrive at Fengdu City? Giji raised his chin slightly, pursed his lips toward the north, and said in a tired tone, almost, this trip is over. If Giang can't make me feel better, I will overthrow Fengdu City. That if an ordinary person said this, they would probably be regarded as the delusion of a madman, but the 3 cult members who had seen the power of Giji with their own eyes knew that this lunatic could really do such a thing. The next day, Guan Shan came to the Demon Slayer Division's venue again and found a seat to sit down. The originally crowded venue seemed empty today. The number of people who came today is only 1/10 of yesterday's. Except for a few people who have not awakened, most people know that the ranking competition of the awakening ceremony only records the top 100. Going by yourself is a waste of effort, and you may still suffer. A good beating would naturally not come from the perspective of asking for trouble. Only people from major universities still appeared in the audience on time. Watching qualifying was their most important practice class every year. Wang Xing was still wearing the stylish jersey he wore yesterday. After looking around the entire field, he lightly jumped up and landed in front of Guan Shan. He glared at Guan Shan provocatively. Then he jumped again and landed on the seat about 10 meters away from Guan Shan. The qualifying competition for the awakening ceremony is a voluntary registration and does not have any actual rewards, but everyone knows that the ranking this time will determine the upper limit in the future. For example, Gujia's alma mater, Wuling College, only accepts the top 50 students in qualifying. The military academy of the Demon Slaying Division only accepts the top 20 students, those who have ranked first over the years can not only freely choose all colleges and universities, but also determine their elite status before enrolling and receive a large amount of resources. The top spot in the rankings can be said to be a battleground for every genius. Hey, how about we join forces and kill that boy from the Wang family first? A female voice sounded in Guan Shan's ears. Liang Yusen did not appear in an ostentatious manner like Wang Sheng, but walked honestly through the safe passage. She immediately found Guan Shan's position and sat upright next to him. She supported the backrest with one hand and stared at Guan Shan from the side. The 2 dimples under her smiling face looked particularly cute. If her tone of voice wasn't so much like a big brother in society, she would really be worthy of the term sweet girl. I'm sorry, I promised master that I would get the first place back. Guan Shan looked back at Liang Yusen lightly and shook his head gently. You are also one of my opponents. It's okay for you to be the first one. Liang Yusen put her hands on the back of the chair and put her chin on her arms. Her big eyes flickered and she said playfully, I just don't like that stupid boy from the Wang family. I'll be satisfied just by beating him up. I don't care about your rank. Anyway, I've already passed the military academy selection. Guan Shan was slightly startled when he heard that the other party's target was also a military academy. He thought for a moment and said calmly, I don't believe you. Please. How can you doubt a righteous beautiful girl? I grew up in the Hunter Guild and I am the most trustworthy. Liang Yusen frowned slightly and pouted her mouth with a look of dissatisfaction. Price. Huh? Liang Yusen was stunned and a little confused. Guan Shan stared at the people who were entering the venue one after another, and explained, the prerequisite for the Hunter Guild to keep its word is to establish a contractual relationship. Since you want me to help beat up Wang Sheng, how much are you willing to pay to hire me? If it's free, don't say anything. I hate white prostitutes the most. Liang Yusen's face suddenly darkened. The only ones who threaten you are me and Wang Sheng. I promise not to compete with you for first place. If I deal with him, won't you firmly win the first place? Can you or Wang Sheng defeat a third-level awakener? Guan Shan asked a little confused. The third-level awakened person can already initially induce energy resonance to form coercion. A fight between the second level and the third level is equivalent to being tied up. It is almost impossible to win. However, I am confident that I can deal with it, or even fight. Tai. Liang Yusen didn't know why Guan Shan would ask such a common-sense question. She raised her little face proudly, like a child waiting for praise. I have killed level 3 awakeners, and I had just broken through level 2 at that time. Guan Shan's voice was calm, as if this was not a big deal. So, if you two compete together, the first place will still belong to me. There is no situation where you will give it to me. Liang Yusen didn't believe Guan Shan's lies, so she rolled her eyes helplessly. Just blow it. Liang Yusen was speechless. This Guan Shan didn't look like the kind of person who liked to brag. How could he be like those men who wanted to attract her attention, bragging without drafting? No wonder her father taught her since she was a child that men's mouths are deceiving. Not a word of truth. With 3 crystal cores, I can help you beat up Wang Sheng. With 5 crystal cores, I can even give you a kick. Guan Shan remembers master's teachings and never miss opportunities to make money. If I give you 10, can you strip the boy from the Wang family and hang him upside down? Liang Yusin snorted and said disdainfully. It's difficult. After all, he is also at the peak of the 2nd level. He can't kill people in qualifying. Let me think about it. Guan Shan started thinking seriously, making Liang Yusin stunned. You have to pay more. Liang Yusin was amused. Wang Sheng is the grandson of the Lord of Dawn City. Who is behind you? Is it tougher than his background? If they beat him upright, the Wang family could only hold their noses and admit it. If you dare to strip him naked and hang him up, let's ask if your life is tough enough. Where did this stupid boy come from? I don't know who taught him. Liang Yusin turned her head away in disappointment and stopped looking at Guan Shan. Hearing this, Guan Shan looked at a corner of the venue. Man who hated getting up early was holding his chin with one hand, yawning and waving weakly at him. Chapter 40 Qualifying Round. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Lu Changsheng has great trust in Hongye's judgment. Since Hongye said that Guan Shan is invincible below the 3rd level, then he is invincible. The reason why he got up early and came to the venue together, he just felt that as a master, he should be present at the most important moment in his apprentice's life, otherwise, he would not be able to watch the fight between those low-level extraordinary kids. Old Lu, do you think there are so many people in the Demon Slayer division today? Not only in the venue, but also outside the venue. Is the awakening ceremony so grand every year? Lu Changsheng yawned and looked at Lu Jiangming. There are indeed a lot of people this year, probably because the children of those big families have come to participate, and the Demon Slayer division must ensure that everything is foolproof. Lu Jiangming took a sip of soda, smacked his lips, and still felt that the beer tasted. Is that so? Lu Changsheng also agreed with Lu Jiangming's statement, and suddenly asked curiously, Old Lu, what place did you get in the qualifying competition that year? Boss Lu, I'm not bragging. I was a famous figure back then. I was invincible in my class and was nicknamed Lu Wudi. Lu Jiangming's expression seemed to be lost in memories, and the corners of his mouth subconsciously curled up. Ah. Then this first place doesn't have much gold content. Although Lu Changsheng still can't read qi, he has also come into contact with many awakened people in the past year and can vaguely feel their fluctuations. Old Lu is only a 2nd-level extraordinary at best, no more. I'm really not bragging, Boss Lu. Back then, which girl in the surrounding area would be confused when she saw me? The good girls who wanted to have a baby with me could line up from Linqing to Yaoguang. Now that I think about it, it was better when I was young. Lu Changsheng looked at Lu Jiangming's beer belly and sparse stubble, and politely didn't respond. Ahem, a hero doesn't talk about his past achievements. Haha. Lv Jiangming smiled awkwardly and looked towards the center of the venue. The qualifying round is about to begin. A middle-aged woman, wearing a decent black dress, stood on the high platform and spoke lightly. All awakeners participating in the qualifying round, enter the teleportation array in the center of the venue in an orderly manner. The rules of the qualifying round will be explained after entering the trial field. The crowd quickly began to move. Some people who like to show off directly jumped down from the audience seats, and combined with their own abilities to make a strong presence, especially Wang Sheng, who took a single step and jumped dozens of meters, and was the first to stand in the center of the array, with a domineering face. The audience on the stage also gave face and exclaimed, "Wow! This child is a bit too ostentatious. I'm afraid he will be targeted when he enters the trial field." Lv Jiangming said with the look of an experienced person. Lu Changsheng didn't pay attention to others, but just looked at Guan Shan quietly. Go Xingzi learned his true teachings and mixed in the crowd, queuing up to enter the magic circle. The woman on the high platform saw that no one continued to enter the magic circle, and spoke again. The Linjiang Province Awakening Ceremony qualifying competition is about to begin. I solemnly remind everyone. It is forbidden to attack companions, use military weapons, and use banned drugs. You are all the future of our human race. I hope everyone can do their best and achieve ideal results. The qualifying competition officially begins. With a soft flash of light, everyone in the magic circle was covered by a huge semicircular energy shield, and their figures gradually blurred. The huge screen in the venue lit up at the same time. In the screen, except for a group of boys and girls, there were only scars all over the ground, ruined walls, black smoke, and dead silence. In the distance of the screen, 3 large characters were engraved alone on a crumbling city head, Fengdu City. Fuck, it's such a big deal. Are these little brats going to Fengdu City to get killed? Lu Changsheng stood up excitedly. Don't get excited, Boss Lu. Look at the venue. LV Jiangming smiled and pointed to the center of the venue. This is the battlefield simulation array of the Demon Slayer Division. Those children are still here, but their spirits have been projected over there. If they are judged to have lost their combat effectiveness, the Demon Slayer Division will intervene from outside the venue to get them out. Lu Changsheng frowned slightly, and subconsciously thought of the magical room during the agent meeting. What is the relationship between Guizhai and the Demon Slayer Division? Inside the trial field, the strong smell of gunpowder, the stench of rotten corpses mixed with a faint smell of blood rushed straight into the nose. Several people with poor psychological endurance knelt down and vomited. The already unbearable smell was even more disgusting. The simulation array of the Demon Slayer Division was almost the same as reality, even if they knew it was all fake, but most people were still overwhelmed by the depressing atmosphere, cruel scenes, and shocking limbs. Except for Wang Sheng, Yang Yusin, and Guan Shan, everyone's faces turned extremely pale. Yang Yusin stared at the energy shield above her head, curled her lips, and muttered a little unhappy, "It's Fengdu City. All my previous strategies were in vain. This trial field must be the latest." Wang Sheng's face was also solemn, looking at the countdown above his head. 5 minutes left. A cold broadcast came from the sky, explaining the rules of the qualifying competition. All contestants, kill the first-level monsters, you can get 1 point. Kill the second-level monsters, you can get 10 points. Kill the third-level monsters and you will get 100 points. The trial field will last for 3 hours, or everyone will be killed. Finally, the ranking will be determined by the points. With the same points, the ranking will be determined by the number of high-level monsters killed. The qualifying round will start in 5 minutes, please be ready. As the broadcast ended, a dense crowd of monsters appeared in the city in an instant. All of them stared at the students with eager eyes, and the roars, swallowing sounds, and the sounds of saliva falling to the ground constantly stimulated everyone. Gu Jia, your friend has bad luck. The killing type of trial field is the most difficult mode to open up the gap. He Jinyom looked at his side with some regret. Not a friend, but a junior brother. Gu Jia stared at Go Xingzi on the screen without any worry. Guan Shan will definitely take the first place. Still pretending, why don't you say you are Guan Shan's master's wife? Deng Lingling looked at Gu Jia unconvinced. Why could she sit in the first row with the principal and convince everyone? Because of her dislike for Gu Jia, Deng Lingling also hated Guan Shan, and wished he would embarrass himself in the qualifying match so as to kill the wild girl's spirit. Guan Shan on the screen could not hear the sound of the venue, he just silently pulled out the dagger behind him and checked it. The others were stunned by his action, the look in their eyes also became weird. Brother, you are already an SSS-level superpower, why do you still carry a knife with you? A little fat man in the crowd stepped back a few steps and asked with some fear. The rules don't say you can't bring weapons, is there a problem? Guan Shan put the dagger back to his waist, and pulled out 2 folding knives from his trouser legs, flicked them back and forth a few times, and confirmed that the springs were fine. Everyone looked at each other, speechless. They cursed themselves in their hearts. Yes, the rules don't say you can't bring weapons, why do you come in unarmed? Seeing Guan Shan constantly taking out weapons from all over his body like a magic trick, everyone's eyes gradually became hot from the initial confusion. the key to this ranking competition lies in the number of demons killed. If you have weapons, you will definitely get more points. Maybe just one demon is the difference between the top 100 and the outside 100, finally. That. Guan Shan, are you selling your weapons?